Hello and welcome back everyone to Wizard of Legend on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries, and in this episode we'll be starting our final run for Wizard of Legend. Off screen, I managed to, well, I did do a bunch of grinding in order to get all of the Nave gems. But the other thing that ended up happening because I was getting all the Nave gems, I actually managed to score all of the relics. So we can start with any one relic in the game at the moment. We also got a majority of the Arcana, not all of them sadly, but we did get a majority of them. And the final run that we're going to be doing is Full Chaos. Now, Full Chaos is a bit more expensive than any of the other Nave runs that we would attempt to show off, but it is very important that I get to show off the Full Chaos run, specifically because it gets to show off how amazing Chaos Reaper as a basic actually is. Plus, you know, we have the signature Distortion Beam as well, which is very nice.
Well, you know, we're just practicing dropping Annihilation on our enemies. You know, it's just practice.
Right. Now, the thing about the Insignia of Legend is specifically is that it rewards us with additional critical strike chance. So, by running Awe, we are also going to have additional critical strike chance as well as critical strike damage. I am entirely convinced that Awe is actually the second best of the cloaks in the game because of this. Because not only do you get critical strike chance and damage off of it, it combos very well not only with its intended archetype of the Lightning Arcana, but also the Chaos Arcana specifically.
So, do all the Chaos attacks have like this purple scythe full of danger and destruction aura about?
They are all purple, yes, but they are not all, you know, about destruction specifically. A lot of them are actually more utility focused than destruction oriented.
The old I hit the red fuck me barrel with a melee attack and then it explodes because it's volatile.
Yes. Which is why we try and hit the explosive barrels with our projectile attacks, like our Distortion Beam. The Chaos Reaper is honestly one of my favorite basic techs in the entire game, and even when I'm not doing Full Chaos, I will tend to lean on it for normal runs.
Well, the sweeping motion, the mid-range effect, yeah, it's rather useful, I found. It will repel enemies that are near you. And then when you're ready, you raise your middle finger and go... boom!
Now, as I mentioned previously, the Full Chaos run is slightly more expensive than other runs you would do, specifically because whilst you're attempting to do Full Chaos, the Arcana shops will actually sell you Chaos Arcana. This is the only time that I've ever seen the Arcana shop sell Chaos Arcana when you're doing a Full Chaos run. So, this is one of the very few times where you actually get to experiment. The very few instances where you'll get to experiment with more than 4 Chaos Arcana. The terrible thing is that as a compensation for one of the more unique properties of Chaos Arcana, all of the Chaos Arcana in the shop are about 50% or 50 to 100% more expensive than Arcana would be of similar utility.
Is it because they want you to buy upgraded versions of the Arcana because you already have it in your inventory?
No, that is not the reason. The real reason is because of the unique property that all Chaos Arcana have, and that is that they are treated as all elements. And this makes it very specific. So if you ever get tied specifically to one Chaos Arcana, you can use it in all of your elemental builds, and it ends up being a pretty hefty steroid for various Nave builds as well.
So because of the versatility of the Chaos Arcana, because you can splash it into any build you want, they want to tax you for it. I see.
Thankfully, we're nearing the end of 1-1, and we almost actually have enough to go buy our first additional Chaos Arcana. I forget which one we get first, though. I think it's Guild.
So, are those like decoys that we keep spawning?
No, those are Chaos Rogues. And the reason that we are spawning them is because they are tied to our dash. I don't think it's Chaotic Rift. I forget what our dash is actually called, but when we use it sends out two Chaos Rogues in unison to our dash. So unfortunately, we will not actually have enough money at the end of this. Well, more than likely, we'll not have enough money at the end of this in order to get our first additional Chaos Arcana.
Let's introduce a little anarchy, upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos.
Oh no, we do have enough. Sweet. All right.
Money!
So we buy Astral Dissonance, which allows us to do that. Mwaha. But yes, because of how expensive the full Chaos run ends up being, there really are only two choices for me that I think are valid for the full Chaos run. It's either Odd in order to cash in as much damage as you can, or Greed in order to actually score enough cash during individual levels in order to attempt to buy the Chaos Arcana that you already have unlocked. I will say that until you have successfully beaten the game upwards of 5-ish times, you're not likely to have enough Chaos Arcana unlocked to be able to do a full Chaos run.
So, because of the difficulty, like getting taxed on getting Arcana as you play the game, leads me to believe that that Chaos Arcana were designed mostly to be splashed in with other builds, not to be a concentration in itself.
Kinda, sorta. We will actually get to see the cosmetic effect of the Insignia of Legend at the end of the run. So, going through our Chaos Arcana that we got right now, I've already said that the Chaos Reaper is honestly one of my favorite basic Arcana in the game. Hey, Nox. The Chaotic Rift dash, the Chaos Dash that we have right now, I like, but mostly because of the additional clones that it spawned. Because they attempt to keep up with us and dash into where we are. Unfortunately, sometimes the shops don't actually or sell you Chaos Arcana like this shop here. Although we're not likely to get enough gold during this level from this point to be able to afford a Chaos Arcana. So yeah, we're already 70% through. And we're only at 50 gold. Bleh.
Smashing through jars at the speed of sound.
Through astral dissonance and leaping to the sky. But when I mentioned that the Chaos Arcana are treated as all elements, now it means very specifically that they do normal damage against all the elemental pawns that we end up fighting. And this is honestly really important, simply because, well, it means that we never have to deal with the fact that while you're doing a mono element run, there are specific enemies that just absolutely kick your ass, like earth warriors and ice archers are just something that I never want to have to deal with.
I see. So another payoff, you're getting taxed as you're developing your Chaos Arcana. And part of the reason for that is because it's an anywhere, anytime kind of arcana. It does not grant you advantages, but it also does not punish you with weaknesses or
well, it does
say,
grant you some pretty
debuffs.
significant advantages. As we've already talked about, the ability to just do normal damage against every enemy in the game with a decent utility is honestly a pretty significant steroid in and of itself. Crush Colossi.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that means you can be concentrating on exploiting an elemental weakness, or you could settle for just doing normal amounts of damage at any time because you have a skill that is never weaker and is never stronger.
Well, specifically, it's never
reliable.
weaker. It actually does get stronger as we go on. By building towards their strengths. Because again, with the Insignia of Legend, all of our Chaos Arcana come with additional crit chance. So if we decide to, go into a full crit build, it ends up being very nice for us. Hey, Thunder Twins. Distortion Beam is one that I actually really like specifically during the elemental bosses, specifically because I can use it early in an attempt to capitalize on where they are or where they're going to be. It's not one that I actually like during Sora, to be perfectly honest, but
Pop, 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 pop.
hide in the corner, hide in the corner, hide in the corner. But as you noticed during there, I was able to get off a Distortion Beam while the Thunder Twins were doing their combo attack, and it was just an easy way to cash in some damage.
You saved your Annihilation Beam for the treasure chest.
Yes. In the next episode, we'll continue our full chaos run. Be safe, everybody.